In this video, I want to share with you a Thai monastery in Gaya, India, and share my thoughts on why someone would want to be a Buddhist monk. Now, before I begin, down below in the description, there's a link, and if you click on it, I'm giving away this free video-based guide on sharing tools that make traveling a whole much better experience, as well as how to simplify dietary supplements. Now, I learned of this monastery through a friend who's actually the owner of a hotel I was staying at, a really nice guy. And so I arrived at this monastery and I met the owner of it. And I was pretty curious and I asked him some questions. And one of the first questions I asked him was, why do you want to be a monk, a Buddhist monk? And, what was your motivation? And his whole answer was he wanted the peace from it. So, and looking around the grounds of the monastery, it was pretty peaceful. The second question I asked, which I was curious on, was who pays for everything? You guys are sitting around eating and praying and all these grounds, and where the money comes from. And I guess what he said was it all operates on donations. So kind people donate to them and they live off of it. So here's a question for you. Have you ever thought about being a monk? I mean, the bad news is you have to give up sex. But hey, it is pretty peaceful lifestyle. I will admit that. And so I filmed this monastery around it, and if you look at the very top, you'll see just tons and tons of bees, lots of them. So I asked him, I was like, why don't you get rid of the bees? And it's against their beliefs to get rid of them. So I was a little nervous walking past all those bees, but luckily they didn't sting me and bother me. So here's the video. If you like it, please share some love and hit the thumbs up button.
Alright, so we're at Temple Nolenda, Thai temple, Buddhist temple. Now, supposedly this temple survives off of donations, and the crazy thing is all the bees. If you look at the temple up here, you'll see nothing but beehives everywhere. Look at all those bees. And I guess they won't kill the bees. At least there's on horns. Look at these bees. There's just tons and tons of bees. You see them? All those little black things hanging from the ceiling are just the beehives. I'm not sure how... Look at all these bees. There's just tons of bees. Look at some crazy dragons over here. Definitely going to take my shoes off here. Careful stepping on any bees. Now I hope I don't get stung. Look at all those bees. Here we are. The great thing, I was actually just talking to the Buddhist monk who's in charge of all this whole monastery, but he didn't want to do an interview on camera. But he was a great guy. Too bad. He had some really interesting things to say. Told me he became a Buddhist monk because of the peaceful lifestyle, and it's definitely pretty peaceful out here. Some pretty interesting stuff around here. And I'm actually in an area where Buddhism was created, very close by here, the Bandai tree, supposedly where Buddha reached nirvana. It's very close to this Buddhist monastery here in India. And I'm in Gaya, India, which is really on the eastern side, kind of close to Kolkata, and Varanasi. And Varanasi is the city I just came from, which is probably the most important city, or one of the most important cities in Hinduism, where so many people get buried. And they believe that by being buried in Varanasi, they reach moksha. And it's kind of similar. Buddhism and Hinduism. In Hinduism, they're trying to reach moksha, and in Buddhism, they're trying to reach nirvana. Look at that. It's pretty interesting, huh? Alright, that looks about it for this monastery. I'll go over here and I'll show you a little more of the grounds. Hey, look at all those bees! I gotta make sure I don't step on it. Look at that bee right there. Have to make sure I don't step on anything. Don't want to get stung. More bees. Bees everywhere. And here's the grounds.